Hey everybody, this is Point Shooter. Tonight I'll be reviewing the Buck 382 Trapper. This is a special knife that was given to me by a very close friend, a Christian friend, at Christmas time, and I've just had the chance to finally review it. This was my EDC blade of the day when I was at church, and I wanted to give you guys my initial impression of it. I've had this knife for several months. As you can see, it's the model 382. This one was a display model. It was given me by a good friend of mine, and I've really enjoyed having it. Take a look at the handles on that. Aren't they beautiful? That's a black poly material that they use, poly pearl. It's very cool. I really enjoy having it, and it's so nice and lightweight. It just fits in my pocket of my dress pants, or sometimes in my suit coat pocket, depending on what I'm doing. As I've mentioned before, I'm part of the, I help with the sound for my worship team at my church. So we use our knives occasionally, cutting zip ties or rope or tape, anything, opening CD cases, anything you might need a knife for. So this knife comes in handy. Let's talk a little bit about the specs on it. It's got two blades, and I'm going to show them to you. They're 420 HC steel. You've got the clipper blade, which is 2 5/8 inches long, for you guys in Europe at 6.7 centimeters. Then you've got, let me close this one, of course it's a slip joint. You've got the main blade, which is the same length, and it's a clip point design. It's hollow ground, but it's not very noticeable. You have to really feel for it. This knife came very sharp. As you can probably tell with most buck knives, they ship very well from the factory. Sorry again if the lighting isn't very good. My filming light got, the bulb got burned out, and I didn't have a spare down here at college. So we'll have to see how this one turns out. It should be okay. Overall, the weight on this is under 3 ounces. It's 2.6 ounces, 3.5 inches when it's closed, and then when it's fully extended, it's 6 1/8 inches long. I've really enjoyed having this knife because it's a very classic look. It's one that I enjoy carrying. When my friends see it, they say, "Oh, that's a very beautiful knife." A lot of the people that as I'm sure you can guess, a lot of my friends are knife people. So we always can appreciate a nice knife like this. 420 HC, as if you've seen in some of my previous reviews, is not my favorite steel, but it does have fairly good rust resistance, and I find that it takes a very good workable edge. I haven't had to touch this knife up at all. As I've mentioned in most of my videos, I touch up most of my blades with diamond stones or ceramic rods, and I haven't had to do either on this. Of course, I haven't put it through a lot of heavy-duty cutting because I really don't want to ding it up too much. I know most people would say, "Oh, I'll thrash the knife, give it a good workout." Well, I can tell from looking at it, it's a pretty good knife, and it was a special gift to me, so I really don't want to beat it up too much. Out of the box, no blade play, nothing. It's a slip joint, it's sealed, there's no way to adjust it even if there was, but it's a buck. I wouldn't expect there to be nothing in the other blade either. One of the things that I've noticed is there's a nail nick here. I'm a lefty, as you've heard, but I always use my knives right-handed. It's a little difficult to extract the main blade. Over time, I'm sure that'll wear in some more, but what I find myself doing most of the time is just going for the other blade. I've heard it called a spade blade. There's a couple different names for it. It works very well for most tasks. It's not going to give you the piercing cut of the other blade, but of course this is not a tactical folder. This is a gentleman's knife in my mind, and that's really what I think it's designed for. It's a limited edition, is my understanding. Relatively hard to get. I don't know if they're still available, but if you see one, you can snap them up. Of course, this was a gift, so I'm not going to get into price on it, but I'd say that if you gave this as a gift to someone, they would be very satisfied with what you got them for the money. Of course, a blade like this, you're really not going to do any sort of heavy-duty tasks. You're not going to pry with it. You're probably not going to cut a lot of heavy-duty material with it. You could use this as an EDC, and you could thrash it, cut in boxes. You could cut anything with it. It works very well. So overall, I really enjoy having it, especially when I'm at church and I don't want to carry something more aggressive like my Benchmade. I occasionally will carry my Kershaw Scallion, which you saw reviewed in another video. But today I thought, you know, I'd really like to carry something a little more classy. The Kershaw, I think, is a very classy knife, but I really enjoy having something like this that's very small, unobtrusive, just fits with a change in your pocket, isn't going to scare anybody. Because a lot of people at my church, for example, aren't really knife people. Not that they're opposed to it, but if I'm working on a sound crew and certainly flip out, Benchmade looks all tactical and aggressive. I mean, which would you think blends more into guys in coats and ties, the Benchmade or the buck knife? I'd go with the buck knife, and that's what I do. Overall, it's very lightweight. It's 2.6 ounces. So to be fair here, it weighs the same as my Benchmade. You have 2 blades though instead of 1. But I prefer the 154 cm steel of the Benchmade, and I prefer locking blades always, as you've heard me mention before. I have not had any problem with it coming close to my fingers. Again, I would not baton with this or use it for any sort of really heavy-duty tasks, mostly because I don't want to ding it up. But for your average everyday folder, this would make a great gift for someone, especially around the holidays. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Keep watching because there'll be more to come, and I hope everybody has a safe and happy, well, in our case, spring break, and hope you enjoy the spring season. Take care. God bless. Bye.